You read the message and your body reacts before your mind finishes the sentence. A small drop in your stomach, heat in your face. Your shoulders rise as if they are bracing for impact. It is a simple line. Can we talk about this? Or, this isn't quite what I meant. Or a comment on your work that looks harmless to everyone else. But inside you, a switch flips. You start replaying. You start defending yourself in your head. You start writing an imaginary speech you will never deliver. And then the loop begins. You try to fix the feeling by thinking harder, and the thinking makes the feeling louder. Here is the pattern break. This is not you being too sensitive, and it is not a sign you cannot handle pressure. It is your brain doing its oldest job, treating social evaluation like threat. Stay with me, because by the end you will have a simple mental model you can remember under stress, a one-breath interruption that stops the spiral in real time, and a 2-minute protocol that turns criticism into a clean next step instead of a whole identity crisis. And yes, there is a moment your brain makes a silent decision and you keep missing it. That is where the reset happens. Let's go deeper than most people do, because that is where you stop blaming yourself. When feedback hits, you don't just hear information. Your nervous system hears meaning. It hears, you might lose status, you might disappoint, you might be seen as incompetent. Your body reacts as if a door behind you just slammed, and then your mind tries to regain control the fastest way it knows. It builds a story about what they really think, a story about what this means for your future, a story about how you always mess this up. You might even do the outwardly productive version of spiraling. You open the document, you start editing like your life depends on it. You send 3 extra messages to prove you care. You over-explain, you apologize too much, you volunteer for more work, anything to buy back safety. On the outside, you look responsive. Inside, you feel cornered. Does this sound familiar? Have you noticed how the spiral is rarely about the feedback itself, but about what you think the feedback says about you? That is the hidden cost layer. Time loss first, then self-trust erosion, then identity conflict, then opportunity decay. Because when criticism triggers a spiral, you stop taking smart risks. You play small. You avoid visibility. You delay sharing your work. And the person you want to be, the calm, steady builder, gets replaced by a version of you that is always scanning for danger. Here is a quiet shame moment that many ambitious people never say out loud. You pretend you are fine in the meeting, you nod, you smile, you say, "Got it." And then you go to the bathroom or your car and you just sit there staring at nothing, feeling stupid for caring this much. If that is you, I want you to hear this clearly. There is nothing broken in you. This is actually protection. Your brain learned that social mistakes can be costly, so it tries to prevent them by running simulations. The problem is it confuses simulation with solution. It thinks if I replay it enough, I will be safe. But replaying keeps the threat signal on, so the loop never closes. Now let's name the map that ends this. I call it the 3 filters, and you can picture it like a mail sorting station or like 3 lenses you can put on your face. When feedback arrives, it is raw data, but your brain does not receive raw data. It runs the data through filters. Filter 1 is the signal filter. Filter 2 is the story filter. Filter 3 is the self filter. When you spiral, those filters get stuck in the wrong order. The story filter jumps to the front and the self filter stamps everything with "this is about me as a person." The 3 filters gives you a way to reorder the system in seconds. Let me preview them and open a loop. With the signal filter, you extract what is useful. With the story filter, you catch the exaggeration your threat brain is adding. With the self filter, you protect your identity from being dragged into the debate. In a moment, I will walk you through each filter, and then I will give you the 3-filter reset protocol you can run the next time your stomach drops. First, the signal filter. Imagine this moment. A coworker says your slide is confusing. A partner says you sounded sharp. A friend says you disappeared. The moment you feel that hit, your attention narrows. That is your brain's threat detection system doing what it does. It zooms in on danger and deletes context. So at the signal filter, your only job is to widen the frame by asking one precise question. What is the specific change requested? Not why, not what it means, not how unfair it is. Just the change. If you cannot ask them in the moment, ask it to yourself. If I had to write the signal in 7 words, what is it? For example, add a clearer example on slide 3. Use a calmer tone when you disagree. Confirm plans earlier. This is not self-criticism. This is clarity. And clarity lowers threat. You don't need more toughness. You need a cleaner signal. Now the story filter. This is where your mind tries to protect you by predicting the worst. The story sounds like certainty. They think I'm incompetent. I'm going to get fired. They don't respect me. I ruin everything. Here is the second open loop closing. The moment your brain makes a silent decision is right here. It silently decides that the story is a fact. And the instant it does that, your body reacts as if the catastrophe already happened. So your move is to separate signal from story. You do it with one sentence that interrupts the spiral in under 5 seconds. This is a story, not a verdict. Say it exactly like that. This is a story, not a verdict. That sentence is not positive thinking, it is cognitive accuracy. You are naming the filter. You are putting the story filter back in its lane. Then you ask one grounded question. What are 3 other explanations that also fit the data? Maybe they are stressed. Maybe they were rushed. Maybe they are focused on a deadline. Maybe the feedback is about alignment, not worth. You don't have to believe the alternatives. You only have to admit they exist. That breaks the spell of certainty, and certainty is what fuels panic. Now the self-filter. This is the deepest one, and it is the one most people never learn. The self-filter is where you stop letting feedback define your identity. Because here is the truth. Your performance and your person are not the same object, but your threat system treats them as one. It says, if this is flawed, I am flawed. So you need a line that protects the self without denial. Use this. I can be wrong and still be safe. I can be wrong and still be safe. That is the self-filter. It tells your nervous system, we do not die from imperfection. It gives you room to learn. It is how resilient people stay open. And now we can close the third open loop. You have 2 motivational systems, and you keep feeding the wrong one. When feedback hits, the threat system spikes, and you try to restore safety by overfixing, over-explaining, or withdrawing. That gives short-term relief, which rewards the threat pattern. The reward system learns spiral equals safety. The 3 filters reroutes reward to the right place. Clear signal, clean story, protected self, then one small action. That is how you train your brain to associate feedback with progress, not danger. Now let's install the actual protocol. This is the 3-filter reset, and it takes under 2 minutes. Here is the if-then rule, because your brain loves automation. If you feel the body drop after feedback, then you run the 3 filters before you reply, even if you reply with a single word like received. Now, the 1-breath interruption. Breathe in through your nose, then make the exhale slightly longer than the inhale, like you are fogging a mirror gently. Longer exhale tells the nervous system, stand down. While you exhale, touch something physical, the edge of your desk, your thumb and forefinger, the back of your hand, so your body knows you are here. Then you say the sequence in your head, signal, story, self. That is the callback phrase, and it is your map, signal, story, self. Now the environment tweak that takes less than 30 seconds. Do not stare at the message. Break eye contact with the trigger. Turn the screen slightly away or minimize the window or place your phone face down. You are not avoiding, you are reducing the threat cue. Then you open a blank note and you write 3 short lines, not paragraphs, just 3 lines. First line, signal, and you write the 7-word change request. Second line, story, and you write the catastrophic thought. Third line, self, and you write 1 safety sentence. I can be wrong and still be safe. That is it. 3 lines. Now you choose 1 micro-action that satisfies the signal without feeding the spiral. Sometimes the micro-action is asking a clarifying question. Which part felt unclear to you? Sometimes it is proposing a next step. I'll revise and send by 3. Sometimes it is a boundary. I hear you. I'll respond after I review. That line is powerful because it stops you from replying from threat. Most damage happens when you reply from threat. Now let's make it vivid with 2 micro-scenes so you can feel how it changes your inner life. Imagine you get a short, cold message from someone you care about. Your mind immediately says, they're done with me. Your chest tightens, your throat gets dry, and you want to send a long explanation. Trigger, you run the 3 filters. Signal, they want acknowledgement. Story, they hate me. Self, I can be wrong and still be safe. Micro-action, I hear you. I'm here. Can we talk later today? Notice how the energy changes. You didn't beg. You didn't vanish. You chose. Now imagine your manager points out a mistake. Your brain tries to defend your intelligence. The 3 filters. Signal, fix the numbers in section 2. Story, they think I'm careless. Self, I can be wrong and still be safe. Micro-action, got it. I'll correct it and confirm. That is competence without collapse. This is where most people stop. But the next part is what makes it stick. You need to close the loop with a micro-victory your brain can store. After you take the micro-action, give yourself 5 seconds to register it. Literally say, I stayed with myself, because your brain encodes what you notice. If you only notice your mistakes, you train shame. If you notice your recovery, you train resilience. And now we can close the final open loop fully. The single sentence that interrupts the loop is, this is a story, not a verdict. And the identity line that locks it in is, I can be wrong and still be safe. Together, those two lines turn criticism from a threat to a signal. And that is the identity shift. You become someone who chooses on purpose. Not someone who never feels the drop, but someone who knows what to do with it. You might be thinking, but what if the criticism is actually unfair? Good, that is real life. The 3 filters is not submission. The signal filter still extracts what is useful. The story filter prevents you from catastrophizing. The self filter keeps your worth out of the negotiation. And from that stable place, you can disagree cleanly. In fact, you will disagree better because you won't be fighting for your identity. You will be discussing information. That is power. That is calm authority. Now return to the opening scene, but upgraded. You read the message. The drop comes. You notice it. You don't sprint into a defense. You don't freeze. You exhale. Signal, story, self. 3 lines, 1 micro action. And later that day, you realize something quietly incredible. You did not lose an hour to replaying. You did not pay for growth with self-hate. You stayed in the room with yourself. In the next 24 hours, pick 1 piece of feedback, even a small one, and run the 3 filter reset once before you respond. Just once. Then notice what you feel in your body when you choose instead of spiral. If this installed something in the way you handle pressure, share it with someone who takes feedback personally and suffers in silence. And if you want 1 upgrade a day that makes you steadier, sharper, and kinder to yourself under stress, you're welcome here.